Good morning, flowers. I'm going to do this video for you, and it's actually going to be my test video because I haven't done this flower with the camera before. This is the flower that's in front of you. This is on this card I did recently that you would have seen. Now on the left, the pink one is the larger one made with what we would have once called a medium heart size. Now, just to show you, it's made using this little, it only looks little, but it's made using this medium heart, which is the biggest one on this particular die, which I suggested you all get. I hope you can see it. Maybe if I come back a bit, you might be able to see it all. There we go. Now, on that die, you're getting 7 shapes, and I think there's about 4 different sizes in there. Now, the blue rose is made from the smallest, I think, or the second. It's made from one of the smaller ones. So, and these are both done with this die, using the pieces from this die. Now, let's hope I don't get any interruptions. The postman just disturbed me before, and I'm sure that somebody else will be back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I do this by using this bigger heart. I hope that's focused. And I'm just going to show you where I place the petals so that you can get the idea. Now, I'll go back a step. You're going to need 10 shapes to make a rose. I'm not going to make a full rose out of these big ones, I can tell you that. But when you're figuring out how much you're going to overlap, because what's going to happen is you're going to overlap these, and you don't want to overlap them too much, but at the same time your finished first layer and subsequent layers have to leave enough room for you to glue them together. And I'll show you what I mean, because I've got one done, the first layer done here, and you will see, I'll just get these out of my way a bit. Yes, there you go. I've put a very rough bit of colour on them to help show you. You need this V down the bottom. You need this V so that you can make it into a cone. Now, the original flower that wasn't done by me, they were much tighter, and therefore you had a rose that stood up more, and it was very hard to place on a card. So, going back to our big hearts, I'll come back to this one in a minute. Here we go. I've put a mark on here to show you that is where I will overlap. And a good little hint is when you've done the first one, to get the others right, and you won't be able to see, I don't think this is going to give us much light, but if you were to hold this up to a lighted, like the window or something, you would see the shadow of where the other one has come to, and so you can make them all like that. Now, when you're using this die, this one, the hearts on that are just a tad different in that they have a bit of a curve here. Well, that doesn't matter, okay? We get around that and we still get a terrific rose. So when we're going to glue, the other thing is we don't want to glue right up to the top, okay? We want to come up about 2/3 of the way. You can see that. So that we're going to be able to shape our petals better. Now, I'm going to put this together, but then when I layer them, it's going to be in the way I would do my ultimate rose. So, we just need a bit of PVA. This is Cosmic Shimmer, and we just put a bit there. You don't have to put a heap. You can spread it out with a toothbrush. There's a good one. I wouldn't suggest your toothbrush, a toothpick, but I'm not going to today. So I've only got the glue up to that line, and then I place this over. Now, what is most important is that you get these tips to line up perfectly down the bottom. Now, as I said, if you were to hold that up to the window, you would get the mark. I can just see it coming through like that. Can you see that? So but this is not glued, so we've got room for that. So then we keep going, and I might actually do the other ones, the other two for this layer anyway. So now we've got an idea. We can just put our glue on, place our next big petal on, making sure that we're keeping it lined up down the bottom. The points must meet for it to look good. And then the last one, once you know how much to overlap it, then it'll just come automatic. Now we've got our last one. Okay, now you see, and we've got this V, and this is what we're looking for. You might find, depending on how much you're overlapping, you might find that this might be a more tighter V, but that's what we want. And we want that because when we do the last step, we're going to be bringing this around. I don't know if I've got it upside down, but that's okay. Bringing this around and gluing it to form a cone. Now, this is a bit of a tighter cone because it's a bigger heart, but that shows you how we're going to, what we're looking for. It'd be good if I got it in range. We've got this nice coney shape. Okay, so after we've done our different shapes, I'll just show you on this one for the moment. We're going to, using our deep tool, we're going to curl over the petals, but we'll finish with the big one now, and we'll come back to the smaller one I've done. Now, what I find is certainly worthwhile is if you look in Penny Flowers, you'll see how to do coning, and I'm not sure which way I will do this. I think I start it like this on the mat so that I can gradually go around, and I just keep bringing it around. You don't have to do this, but it is going to make the whole flower easier to do. So now it's just a case. Okay, Angie did it back to left a colour on the inside, and that wouldn't have mattered, but it doesn't matter which side you do it on, what I'm saying, but you want your colour on the inside, not on the back of it. Mind you, you could colour the backs. I've done that before. So now we're going to put a bit of glue just here. And I know how much overlap I need on this. And we're going to overlap it so they all look pretty much the same. And depending on the glue you're going to use, you might find that you want to hold it with a pair of reverse tweezers, but you don't need to. So that's number 4 layer. Then we come to the one where you've got 3. You're going down 4, 3, 2, down to a single one. Okay, so we do the same thing with this one. And cross him over. I don't think I need to hold it with any tweezer. I think that's enough. Just hold it and count to 10 and do the penny flowers dance if you would. Now, this one, we can just put him on the corner like this, and starting at this side, almost go right around. If you need to move it, just move it and just shape it there. Put it back in if it goes a bit funny, and we do this one. Now what I find you might want to do is probably would have been better putting the glue on the other side, but oops, we don't want that too much. Just call me clumsy clock today. There we go. So we've got that last layer. So now we're good. Let that dry for a minute. Now we want to just go and curl over the individual petals, and you'll be able to do that easy because you haven't glued right up. Now I haven't got my proper deep tool. This one is all very well, but I prefer the other to just get that shape nice. So that's that one done. Now, if you take your next one and you put it in the centre, yep, I don't think we're going to need to cut any off. You can cut a bit of your point off if you feel that it's sticking up too much or it's not going to look good. Okay, so that's the next one. And then I bet you I'm going right off camera. I'm trying to look at what I'm doing and keep my eye on the camera window. So now we can stand this one in, and I probably would just take a 1/16 of an inch off that end so that sits a little bit better. So now we'll bring in the flower board and put the shapes on here. Now it's time for the thick glue. Okay, so we're going to put glue in the middle about the size of a pea. And that is important. That is what gives the technique. And put glue in the middle of all of those. And I don't know whether you can see it. It'd be good if I didn't drop it. Okay, can you see? Ah, yes, you can see the glue in there. So, grab a pair of tweezers. You take your next shape, and what I find is I put the third shape in the second, and then put them both into the top, and your glue's already in the flower there. So then we're going to take our last one, which I've just curled around using a reverse tweezer. Let me see if I can show you. Oh, here's one that I've given thing. Now what you've got to do before you roll this, you're going to cut the point off like that. Now again, we can help ourselves along a bit here by just giving this a bit of cone shape. Very difficult to try and keep the camera on it and me get in a position where I can do. But have a look at how I do coning and you'll get the picture. And then you bring that one around and make it, you can glue it shut like that, or what I find, start on one side and roll it. Okay, just roll it right around, and then take your tweezer out, and you've got your little bit. Now this is starting to fall, but that's going to happen. You need, when you're doing this method, don't go for a walk, don't go away, go off and do something, but keep coming back and check they haven't fallen. Okay, so we are now going to put this one into the centre of our rose. And there we go. Now it needs me to just tweak it a bit. They always do. I usually do half a dozen of them, and then I'll go off and do something, and I'll come back and I'll just straighten those that need it and go off. And it only, after about a half an hour or so now, it's fine. But you don't have to be standing there all the time. Enjoying a nice cup of tea. So that's how you make this heart rose. Once you've done your gluing together of your 10 shapes, 4, 3, 2, and then the 1, then you're putting it together just like you would the ultimate rose. No different. Okay, and this way, this hasn't got a deep point on it, so when you put it on a card, you could almost stand it up and have leaves coming underneath it or on its side, but it's a much flatter flower than what the original that was done, not by me. So that's that. So just remember, when you're using the dies, the cutouts from this die, they're going to have this little dip, and it absolutely makes no difference. Here's one that's been punched, and you can see the sides are different. But honestly, I'm just looking for another shape here. Another one of the shapes. It's just a matter of crossing over, and you might not be crossing that little dippy part very much at all. It's like this. So, there's the heart flower. I just wanted to show you something I've been playing with. Last week I got in the mail a lovely die from one of my blog followers, and she sent me the Sue Wilson baby onesie. And oh dear, I'll try and lift the camera up a bit. There we go. Now, the man in the moon that's on the baby's bib is not from the die set. You get the onesie die, you get the bib, the text that says sweet baby, and the 3 little buttons where you do up the onesie down the bottom. I bought from the Chinese people that we're buying some of our dies, a die that is a baby's mobile, and you'll see it's got a little duck, it's got a rattle. I think that's meant to be a little baby's bottle. The man in the moon, a heart, a dummy, or a pacifier, depends what you call them, and a star. So I just cut the moon off and put him on the baby's bib. And honestly, the detail on that, you can see the eye, the nose, the mouth, there's little stars on the moon, and there's a little dot that makes the tip of the moon like a pom-pom. That, if you emboss it, that shows out, and you can even see a little raised bit where his cheek is. Now, having said that, I made the onesie. I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with it now. I'll probably keep it in the event I make babies' cards, but people ought to know by now that I'm allergic to babies. Anything that screams, and it's bad enough I've got a cat that's constantly screaming at me. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed that. I'm just chattering now. I just wanted to have a go at doing that before the camera. This is not going to be the final video, but you will see this one with all my bloopers and all. Okay, well, that's it. I'm going off to finish my cup of tea. I need to go lay down for 20 minutes, such is my life lately. It's half an hour up, 20 minutes down. But this time next week, I will have had my procedure. They do tell me that I'm going to be uncomfortable for about a week afterwards because I will have internal burns, which doesn't impress me, but be far better than what I'm feeling lately. Okay, that's it. Any questions? Just yell. I'm sure to hear you. Okay, bye. Bye.